I don't. I don't have any way of knowing if you sent me over regarding what I just said, or if you sent me over regarding you were doing remote view. You know, let me tell you something about like what the biggest fear people like me have. Why people why people like me would like people to understand what the Underground Fascist International was for this reason. Okay, and also like to understand something. Like here's the thing, that part of the concern I have for people like in our political class who perceive they're on the left or perceive they're a socialist or whatever, anyone can have the word and anyone can claim they're on the left and anyone can claim anything. Okay, here's the thing: like part of why the Soviet Union why there was a lot of fear about like wanting to win the Cold War is the thing is like what they were doing, is what it was indicated like they were like stupid. And it was like part of it was like, is it military strength matched with just like with like incredibly limited intelligence? Like we're gonna make a model, we're gonna take a society through industrialization in one generation, like we're gonna do a class war thing, we're gonna we just had like it was gonna be military strength matched with like people of incredibly limited intelligence. Okay, now here's the thing: we have people like that in our political class who like perceive they're a socialist or something and don't understand that a big part of the thought of the Underground Fascist International, and by the way, people who think like Francis Parker was like an anti-Semite, he sat on the Nuremberg tribunals and prosecuted Nazi war criminals, okay? So that before he went to the Fascist International. So it was the call to there's a lot of misconceptions about people like that. There are also a lot of Jews in that movement, okay? But here's the thing, he happened to be Catholic, but here's the thing, like that people like we don't know who's on the left in our political class, but like people like me don't have much faith that they actually even know like what socialism is or what the Nazi intellectuals, the fascist, what right-wing intellectuals wanted, which is they seem in our country like I'm sure that guy Bernie Sanders, based on that comment he made, believe in a class war politics. Okay, the thing is what far right wingers talk about when they talk about socialism is they talk about cross-class solidarity. Okay, this thing about this language in the health bill that would be trying to get inherited wealth over to the state, the fact that there's someone like calling themselves a socialist in Vermont who when he speaks like what he's calling socialism has to do with like closing tax loopholes for billionaires, that it's some kind of political power matched with incredible stupidity, and like they're using and they think they're socialists because they want to keep us. What got us to this situation is a class war mentality. Let me back up and tell you how we got to neoliberalism. Okay, what was happening in the 70s was this. By the way, my father was actually in the printing plants and stuff at the time, and he used to tell me about it not from an educated point of view. What was going on is this, okay? Because of the situation in like the oil markets and stuff, like, okay, capital could not meet the demands of labor. Okay, they could at that time. What labor wanted would have been cost prohibitive because of things going on that aren't something they're concerned about, but like that's what was going on. Okay, and the people in the political class on the left, when the people would try to explain, okay, look, we're more power, labor's more powerful than it's ever been. We're in a car that can go 100. My father used to refer to this speech that we're in a car that could go, the delegates, between capital and labor, we're in a car that could go 150 miles an hour, but we don't have to move that fast. And what we actually are asking for is at this time cost prohibitive for capital to do. Okay. And the mentality, because they were being manipulated, probably like guys like the Bernie Sanders of the world, is they say, look, they're selling you out. We need to move as fast as we can. We've never been this powerful. Okay. And what happened, the first thing that happened, like my father used to tell me, printing plants closed, in his sector, printing plants closed all over the place. They couldn't meet the demands of labor because they were listening to a political class that just perceived like move ahead with class war, okay? One of the ways we get capital decided, they took a look at the situation and said, under Keynesianism, the fact is, we didn't look at it this way, but for the entire time, capital labor have been in a truce. Why don't we wage a class war from our side, okay, which has never been done before. Labor can't win a class war against capital. Class struggle is something that goes on the left, but the idea, like, they said, no, we wage a class war. They designed an economy where they said, look, we'll abandon the real economy, let everything disintegrate, and we'll go into, like, other types of financial activity to make, to accumulate capital. What will happen, okay? So what will happen is things will disintegrate to the point where people will be desperate, and then we'll be able to negotiate, okay? In other words, there's a major problem with people who call themselves on the left, call themselves socialists, but like don't actually know about the history of the thought on that, and it's how we got into this situation, okay? So like, I don't really know what to say, but that's something that like maybe we should talk about or not talk about. I don't know what you sent me into, but I mean, I don't know.